For this project, I was interested in learning about how location affects tap water quality and human experience with water usage. I designed two different experiments. Experiment number 1, water quality tests, and experiment number 2, water intake attitudes, home personal use survey. My name is Gardezi. Prior to living in Boston, I lived in a small suburban town called Shrewsbury. Oftentimes, the water turned a murky orange-brown color, which led me to doing further research on the matter. I had found out that Shrewsbury often flushed its water due to the presence of high mineral content like iron and copper. After moving to Boston, I became curious in the visible color and taste difference in the water. With the knowledge that there can be many different contaminants in water that can negatively affect human health, I was curious to know just what exactly affects water quality. I also wanted to know, what did humans think about the water they drank and the water they used on a daily basis? Oh, this water hasn't been filtered. Is there a chance there can be contaminants present in the water? Experiment number 1, tap water quality tests. The first thing that I did was take water samples from 3 separate townships: Boston, Shrewsbury, and Worcester. Within each township, I tested 2 buildings: an old building, or a building constructed greater than 50 years ago, and a new building, a building constructed under 50 years ago. Within each building, I tested for 2 samples. Sample number 1 was taken immediately from the faucet, and sample number 2 was taken after 60 seconds of running the faucet. This was to check if there was any difference in sedimentation after running the faucet for 60 seconds. Then I proceeded to take all 12 samples home to test for pH, hardness, chlorine, nitrates, lead, pesticide on a note card. I had so many questions about the human experience in regards to water, and I also wanted to correlate my results from Experiment 1 and Experiment 2 to see if I'd find anything interesting. I first jotted down all of my questions onto a notebook. Some of the questions included, do you have any concerns about lead in your water? Or what do you think about your town's water quality? I then transferred those questions into SurveyMonkey, which helped me create a very detailed and organized survey. Then I propagated that through social media, places like Facebook, and even direct email, and waited for the results. Some of the results were surprising, while others, not so much. I had found out that more than 50% of survey respondents drink tap water on a daily basis. Is this surprising? No, because I oftentimes see people in my community, in my friend groups, drink tap water. The question is this area for concern? Well, some of the results from experiment number 1 can give insight on this. Like, for example, I had found that 83% of the tests had come back positive for lead. That is, every single test except 1. And that 1 sample was from an old building in Worcester, or a building greater than 50 years in age. This contradicts my hypothesis that the older buildings would show higher levels of contaminants in water. If there's a possibility that the pipes may have been retrofitted, or if there's new pipes, the likelihood of lead being in the water would be significantly lower. Why is lead such a big deal though? According to the EPA, the maximum contaminant level goal is 0 parts per billion. These tests indicated results greater than 3.8 parts per billion. Also, according to the EPA, lead can cause delays in physical and mental development, while low levels of exposure have been linked to damage to the central and peripheral nervous system, learning disabilities, shorter stature, impaired hearing, impaired formation of blood cells. I had found out that more than 50% of survey respondents did not have concern for lead in their water. The majority of respondents drink 1 to 3 glasses of water per day. That is less than the recommended amount. And that can lead to dehydration, which has a number of serious health implications. Water has so many amazing benefits, which is why I chose to do this experiment in the first place. I wanted people to understand more about the water they drink because of the fact that it is so amazing and good for you.